Let's run Lubelisk, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Boy, were they wrong.
Tearing him down.
Oh, I did not mean to put that down. What the fuck? I'm out of spirit. Oh.
Uh, why are you?
Yo, they
Yo,
keep
I'm out of.
slapping my fucking
Yo, they
face.
hit me.
Holy sh. Okay, that's cool.
Fuck, what is going on right now?
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Ken here again. So I was gonna do a guide on Balrog next, but I've noticed that there aren't any guides for Lubelisk, so I wanted to try to get one out there because this is definitely one of the tougher dungeons to run. I know for me, it was tough as hell. So I'm gonna try to give out the information to you guys, straightforward and concise. I wanted to try to make my guides short and quick, but this one's probably going to be a little bit of a longer one because there's a lot of information to give out for completing this dungeon successfully. So let's get down to it. Okay, so before I dive into the mechanics of the boss, I want to give a few setting tips to help you guys with just making things easier to see and just a lot less cluttering your screen. So even this, you can do this for world bosses too, but for when you're running dungeons, I highly suggest going to game interface. Wait, no, I lied. Status text, and go ahead and you see where it says show friendly player names. You want to turn that off and apply it, because just having those huge name borders around the area, sometimes you won't even see like an AoE that you're standing in. It's possible. So I highly suggest turning that off when you're running bosses, and even running freaking world bosses. It's a lot cleaner and lot clearer to actually see what's going on. Okay, so mechanics for fighting the boss are pretty overloaded at times, but so I'm gonna break it down into stages. So this is the first phase, and the main thing you need to worry about is the mobs. There'll be mobs that will spawn throughout this entire phase that will just be shooting projectiles at you. Some of them do crowd control, and then most of the projectiles, 90% of them, when they hit you, they'll apply a debuff of 25% reduced damage, and it stacks up to 3 times. So mainly what you want to do is that you want to have one person who sticks on the boss, pretty much your beefiest person you got there. So we got a knight taking the care of the job, and then you'll have everyone going around taking care of the mobs around the circle. As soon as the mobs are taken care of, you just go do some damage to the boss. Just chip him away as much as you can, and just keep rinsing and repeating, going to those mobs. This is why most people say having a ranged character is pretty essential and pretty needed for doing this boss. I can see that, but it's definitely doable with just melee alone. Now, also keep note that when you're jumping up to fight those mobs, in the podiums, you see the pink spot in the middle. It's like pink rock looking pillow. You want to stand on that spot and not get on the same tile as the mobs, because once you do, they'll do a spin attack that will just stagger you for a very long time. It's very aggravating. Just make sure to stand in the middle and you'll melt them like butter. Just keep on dealing out whatever damage you can. Make sure you prioritize the mobs always. Please do not ignore them. Even though you have a priest, it's nice, but just don't not ignore the mobs, because the 75% debuff also count towards the priest's healing power, because it scales off of their own magical attack. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next phase, the second phase. Alright, so now we're at the next stage of the boss. There'll be a lever that you can pull at the top of the arena, which leads to the second phase. At this second phase, the main boss will spawn 2 clones of himself, a yellow one and a blue one. Don't be too afraid, the HP isn't that crazy, but they still dish out a decent amount of damage. So what you would want to do is, just like before, have your beefiest guy stick on the main boss and keep his attention. Then your other 2 DPS will go towards one of the other clones, I preferably would like to go to the red clone, and then we'll have our priest just sustain and just do whatever they can to keep the yellow one busy. The reason why you don't have all your party members go towards the clones is because if the main boss becomes out of combat, he will then constantly heal the clones. You want to make sure that he's busy at all times. Okay, so the main attacks that you'll have to worry about from Magnus in this stage will be the green AoEs that he'll be dropping around constantly, which do a decent chunk of damage, so you want to do your best to avoid them. Other than that, he will just constantly spawn the clones, and eventually you'll notice him make the middle platform purple, and that is in fact a one-shot ability, so you want to watch out for that. I believe he only did it about once or twice. Maybe it had something to do with how quickly we're bringing his HP down, but you just want to make sure not to be in the middle platform once he decides to do that. As a center tank or off tank, when you're duking it out with the main boss, it's not really too difficult, too stressful, especially if you have if you're using a knight with invulnerabilities. But all his attacks are really telegraphed, especially like the swings and spins he do. So you won't really have to worry too much about that. Just after getting a feel for it and fighting him yourself, you'll really be able to tell the pattern of those attacks, and you'll be straight. All right, now we're at the home stretch. So Magnus leaves again, and it'll be another lever you can pull to head to the third phase. Now, at the third phase, I believe this is when the ranged um, classes kind of shine a lot, because there's going to be mobs now that are constantly flying, and very, very rarely do they come into melee range. And they're going to be constantly shooting fireballs and shooting you with the percent debuff from the first round. Now, if that wasn't hard enough, you're going to also have to deal with Magnus kind of going ballistic, and he'll break the arena, and you'll have to constantly jump to get to him. There's going to be a cube you start off on, then a somewhat sort of bridge, and then the main arena where he'll be hovered around. The other mechanic that he would do is he will start to do a vacuum attack and will try to pull you towards the center, kind of like the original MS. And when he pulls you towards the center, he will then, within less than a second, slam down his sword, and it will be a one shot. So you have to dodge out of it as soon as the vacuum ends, or just try to stay as forward away as possible if you can do that. Me as a thief, I'm able to have multiple dashes at my use, so I'm able to get away, but some only have one or two dashes, so you want to make sure to just use it when you can. If you thought that was enough, well, it's not. The boss will also set the main arena alight of some kind of black flame that just does damage to you over time, and you can try to tank and spank in there, sit in there with your healer and try to heal and just dish out some damage to him when you want to, but you'll generally have to escape and jump out of that. But wait, there's more. He'll also use the shockwave like you just saw just now to destroy the bridge whenever he wants, and it could actually get to the point where he destroys the entrance of the bridge, so you literally just have to wait for the bridge to come back before you can even reach the boss to do damage to him. Again, this is why I see where the range kind of plays a pretty heavy role, because you can stand from a distance and still shoot him, but like you see here, it's still able to be done just fine with melee. Mind you, I'm not too great at the game myself, but we're able to still pull this off. So with dealing with all these new mechanics and trying to dish out as much damage as you can while taking out whatever flying mobs that come into range when you can and avoiding the green circles when you can. Trust me, it's not that crazy. You just need to get a little practice in there. But you'll be able to do it, and you'll be able to get your screen looking kind of like this. A well-deserved success. I can do better than a B. I think I can. Just need maybe just one or two more runs. But yeah, so that completes the guide for doing Lubelisk. I didn't really see any other guides out there for it, so I wanted to get this one out first because I'm pretty sure people out there really need to know how to do this dungeon. So yeah, there you have it. If you guys liked the video, please like it. It helps a lot. And just let me know in the comments for any questions. If I'm talking too fast, if I need to change things around. I'm still new to this, so I want to make this the best experience for you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day, night, afternoon, evening. Yeah, okay, watch these clips.
What the fuck? Hello?
So,
Oh
I
my,
just checked my health down so hard.
as soon as I reached him, I just, okay. Is it damage time? Okay.
oh, okay.
Holy shit.
I'm gonna see if I can do it.
Okay. Oh my god.